post-its, everything. So I do mind maps all the time just to make sure that I have the ideas and then represent very quickly what I want to do. And that is kind of my roadmap. You know when you see the lights in the road that is dark and you see lights coming from the...
I understand.
So I don't deviate from the plan too much.
Okay.
Anyway, so we were discussing more details on Richard now, and actually what I've done last night after dinner, I went back to the Dell case, these 1,000 pages, because so far what I learned, which is key, is actually there is a lot of fluff and information that we don't need it. So
correct.
These three things actually, I say how I can narrow down these 1,000 pages in a page. Let's say if I want to present this in a page, how I can do it. So then I went into three core questions. One is the motivation here, which is motivation if it's a hot motivation. The second is where the EBITDA, or the value of the EBITDA. And thirdly, how it's going to be financed. And this is what I scrapped from all the fluff until I narrowed down to what was the motivation to do the Dell acquisition, how it was financed, and what was the plan for that financing.
Okay.
So the background is basically that Dell was focusing, this in 2006 to 2012, Dell core activity at the time was PCs and servers to the market. So they didn't have anything else, and they were starting to fall behind the curve when all the tablets, laptops, phones, and all the devices like MP3 players start to come into the market, and they were start to fall behind the curve. So that meaning that the stock that used to worth $40 went even lower as $9. So Michael Dell decided to revamp the company, but actually as a public company he couldn't do it that way, so they decided to privatize the company again. So the way that they did it is just to buy in all the stocks. So he at the time he has a PE firm himself worth 12 billion, and he engaged with two companies. One was Silver Lake. This is Michael Dell. Silver Lake and KKR to move this from public to private. So and the idea was to move it into private so they could move from the sales of the PCs and servers into an enterprise services company. So they will start to look into more into enterprise companies, and instead of the public, general public, and delivering service attached to the things that they were selling. So so that was the idea, and how they executed was basically to offer a premium price for the shares from the average that it was at the time. So the average at the time was in $10, $10.99, something like that, and they offer a premium for $13.65 to the shareholders. And how was having the EBITDA at the time? EBITDA was 10.65 billions. And at the end of the transaction, they paid 2.3 EBITDA. So the full transaction at the end finished in 24.4 billions. And how this had been funded was a pool of money. Dell himself, with his own fund of private equity, put 7 billions. 14 billion was put by a pool of banks and commercial banks. Barclays, Swiss Credit, etc. 1 billion 4 was by Silver Lake, and 2 billion by Microsoft. And this was a revolver credit, which I don't understand really what that means. But that's
okay. I'll explain to you when inside. Ask me.
Okay. So then that's how we've been funded.
So KKR didn't put up any money? No.
KKR pulled because at the time that they were discussing this plan, the PC and servers industry sales decreased by 9%, another further 9%. So KKR, they thought that was too risky. But to revamp the company to enterprise, the services, that actually they actually did. And after of today, this 13 now worth $82. This is where we found this morning. How much is worth this $13 that they pay at the time? Now the next the next thing that happened is actually this is 2013. In 2016, before paying all this loan, they reacquired the company again. They refinanced the whole thing again and was acquired by another company called EMC or EBC or something like that. So they pretty much puffed the poppy here, and they sell it, and they sold it in a period of 3 years before even paying all these loans. And that's the 1,000 pages in one page.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, so now what you've been through, you haven't presented, but you've been through all your cases, individuals.
Yes.
And you haven't presented them all yet, though.
No.
Okay? And now, all those cases, that's the Dell case. Was that, wasn't there 2 Harvard cases, or is this one?
This case is from, this one of the cases I brought is from New York.
Okay, but don't you also had to have 2 Harvard cases, right?
No.
I have a couple of cases.
No, you have 2 Harvard cases.
Yes.
You brought 2 Harvard cases. You have them on your thumb drive,
Yes.
right? Okay. Well, we're not doing Harvard cases yet, but anyway, I didn't add 2 Harvard cases to your group because you brought 2. Okay.
Okay.
But when you do the Harvard cases, because one of the groups, Group A, Lurch and Ravi and Jason from Accolade and Juan, they gave me their answer to their Harvard case was 1 sentence, basically next. And I said, next why? What did you compare it to? What were the EBITDAs? Who sold what? I mean, you didn't do any analysis. And so that's not what I want out of the Harvard cases. I don't want next. Or what I want is this kind of analysis. Okay? And some of the Harvard cases that got done based on not just hindsight, because in hindsight this was a good deal, because it worked out from 13 to 82 or whatever it is, right? Well, some of them that were 82 went to 13. But it's easy to look at the share price and see that it didn't work out. But why didn't it work out? What was the false, what was the expectation based on that didn't come true? Okay, so what did they give too much value to? And or what risk assessment didn't they add to it that they should have added? Because all these deals, remember, just like the speech I give the kids, wealth, risk, reward, not. Forget the not part. Wealth is based on risk and reward, and it's a ratio. You have to learn how to balance them, risk versus reward. Most of the deals that the kids bring me, nobody's thinking about the risk, and all they're thinking about is the reward. And then they don't have enough experience based on you don't know what you don't know, and so they underestimate the risk, and they overestimate the reward or the potential reward. They almost always overestimate the potential reward because they have no mechanism to judge. One of the things I've just recently said, and actually one of you guys brought it to my attention, there's no algorithms compression for experience. There's algorithm compression. In other words, you can write code to simulate just about everything on the planet now. But one thing, experience. And that's why the kids that bring me these boxes that turn shit into gold, this is their, and they fall in love with them and they get pride of authorship and all that other stuff. They don't really know that, most of the boxes that turn shit into gold don't work. And, but I only need $800,000 to see if it works. Or I only need $11 million to see if it works, etc., etc. And that's why the big CEOs that have built huge companies know it's easier to buy revenue than it is to create it, i.e. the roll-ups. It's easier to buy. All the big companies, not all, almost all the big companies are a derivative of a combination of roll-ups. General Motors, AT&T, United States Steel, British Telecom, Exxon. They're all started, and they rolled up hundreds of companies, sometimes thousands. So
what you just said touches kind of my question. When I'm looking at development deals, instead of building something and developing something and taking all the risks that we talked about yesterday.
Correct. I mean, I wouldn't do that. I mean, it's easier to buy a.
Buy-
I've got to.